What's up guys, I'm Noob Genesis and this is from YouTube Noob to YouTube Pro. And what I'm going to be talking about today is exactly what I just said. There is a difference between this commentary and normal commentaries that I do, because normal commentaries it's more about sniping and sometimes it's about YouTube. But this one is mostly about YouTube and just general gaming and almost life just in itself. And as I said, this is me actually doing a gameplay commentary. I have not got a gameplay. Go figure. So I'm just going to be adding that in afterwards. So I can't actually tell you what the hell it's going to be. Knowing what I've been doing lately, it's probably going to be free-for-all, but that's about all I can tell you. Anyway, the topic I want to talk about is motivation, progression, and kind of how they interlap with each other. And the reason I want to bring this up is because I am someone who... I watched Drifter's video recently, and he was talking about all sorts of stuff and coming from rock bottom and all that crap. And it was a very good commentary, a very good one. One of the things he very briefly touched on was how if you're not progressing, you are going stale. You aren't, because other people around you are progressing and you're not. So in other words, you're going backwards. And I kind of want to elaborate on that a little more, and also from my own personal perspective, because I've actually, after watching that video, I realized that this has happened to me. And when it comes to Call of Duty, it is a very, very predominant part of me not progressing. So I want to kind of explain what I mean by that. So first thing you need to know is with gaming, one of the earliest games that I got heavily into was Age of Empires 2. I loved that game to bits. I still love that game to bits. Unfortunately, I don't get to play it that often, but I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. Now, with Age of Empires 2, when I say I loved it and I just played it all the time pretty much, the main reason I'm a very good player at it now, and I haven't even played it in ages. I'm a very good player at it. I've gone up against multiple mates, they're all in one team, and I'm by myself, and I will still annihilate them without breaking a sweat. That's me with Age of Empires 2. However, the difference between that and Call of Duty is how I got to that stage, and how I used to be with Call of Duty and how I am now are also very similar. What I mean by this is, with Age of Empires 2, I would play this, originally, I was like 10 or 12 or something when I first played it, or something, I don't know, an early age. Maybe even younger, I don't remember when it came out or how old I was at the time. But when I first played it, I was on easy mode against the computers, and I was just doing my thing and winning some matches, losing some matches. But I wanted to get better. I wanted to be better. I wanted to get to the harder difficulties. And this is where part of my challenging myself nature came out of me. This is why I snipe. It's because I like to challenge myself. However, it was a little different back then, and I kind of wish it was like that now for me. When I did used to challenge myself, I would challenge myself to get better. Nowadays, I challenge myself for challenging myself. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but it's true. I look at Call of Duty at the moment, and I'm not seeing myself as progressing in any way, shape or form. I'm not being a better sniper. I'm not getting better at sniping. Or when I do, it's very rarely that I actually try and do something new to make me a better sniper. In the last few months, the only thing I've really tried is to sprint less, and that's about it. All up, I have not really been trying to get better for my shot or anything like that. I've just been doing what I've been doing and hoping that I do better. When I was playing Age of Empires, and also I've noticed I do this with League of Legends now, is I would look at the minute details and I would figure out how I could do better. And when I say that, in both League of Legends and Age of Empires, I would make every single second count. I'm talking almost milliseconds. I would try and make something out of them. I knew all the shortcut keys for Age of Empires 2. I knew all the what are they called? The units. I knew all the units in the game. I knew all the bonuses in the game. I knew all the racial bonuses in the game. I knew everything about it. And to some extent, I know mostly everything when it comes to Black Ops 2, metagame-wise. And when I say metagame, I mean like I know many of the gun's stats. I know exactly how many bullets it should kill. I know their rate of fire. I know all this stuff. However, it's not exactly the same, because while I know this information, and I knew the information with Age of Empires, what I did in Age of Empires that I don't do in Call of Duty is I don't use this to my advantage as much. And I used to do this in Call of Duty. I started really playing a lot more in Black Ops 1. That's when I got my PlayStation 3 and I was really trying. I did play COD 4 and stuff back in the day, but I didn't really try that hard. And I hadn't played Call of Duty. I didn't like World at War when it first came out. I love it now, but I didn't at the time. I really hated it, in fact. So I hadn't played Call of Duty since like the start of COD 4. And I didn't get Black Ops 2 till like halfway through. Black Ops 1 until about halfway through. And when I got it, I was literally pulling a .40 KD. Not even joking, I had less than half a fucking KD. I was terrible. However, within months, I was pulling over at 2 KD without camping. I was easily annihilating matches. I would literally go 2 out of 3 matches, probably even more than that, with a chopper gun of dogs combo. It would almost be guaranteed half the time. And the reason for this, that it happened in such a short period of time, is that I tried so damn hard. I looked at everything I did. I figured out every single way I could get better. And a very good example of this is when you come up against someone who is using a shotgun. Now, this is a lot harder to say now that I snipe, but back when I used normal guns, like just any normal assault rifle in Black Ops 1. If someone had a shotgun, obviously shotguns weren't that scary in that game, but if they did have one, I would think about it. When I first started out, I would just charge them down and get myself killed. But I looked at that and then I thought, oh, wait a minute, I should be backing away. And that's where I learned ages ago to back away from weapons that are going to destroy me up close. And it's all those type of little things that I eventually got better at. And this also happened in MW3 when I was learning to quickscope. I looked at all the minute details and I specifically tried improving on it. And anyone who learns to quickscope at first has done this. Quickscoping is not something you just straight away know how to do. You've got to try it, you've got to fail multiple times, but depending on how much you look at yourself and your progression, how much you look at yourself and what you're doing and how it defines what you're doing, you learn to progress faster and better. But the problem is now for me that I've seemed to come to a halt. I don't look at Call of Duty of what I'm doing wrong. Like, I do see what I'm doing wrong sometimes, but I don't try and change or improve myself. In my last video, I said that, the one to do with Weagle and pub stomping and stuff like that, I said that people need to challenge themselves they need to stop challenging others and challenge themselves. And I'm a culprit of this too. I have looked at other people's gameplays, I've looked at other people's videos, and a while ago I was trying to somewhat go for the same stuff that other people were doing. Not necessarily exactly the same, but I was trying to compete with these other people, as in I wanted to be one of them. I wanted to be part of their crew. I want to be part of this sniping community. And the problem with that is I focused on it. And that was my drive. My drive was no longer the fact that I wanted to be better at sniping. I wanted to improve myself. That was gone. And I know it's still existent in me because I do this in League of Legends. I am fastly growing into a pretty good player because I look at every single thing that has to do with my gameplay. I figure out every single mistake that I do as I'm playing it. I figure out what I should have done instead. I figure out how I could have done it better. And it's making me grow into a better player on League of Legends. However, my channel is not based around League of Legends. I may play League of Legends, and I may upload it when I get a chance. It's just a bit of a pain to record and upload. But my channel is primarily Call of Duty. So the fact that I am recording Call of Duty, I am playing Call of Duty, and I am doing my best at sniping in Call of Duty, yet I am not progressing, is a very, very bad thing. And I think a lot of people need to learn this because progression is the greatest tool you can have. Or, sorry, let me rephrase that. Self-progression is the greatest tool you can have. I do a lot of WoW modding and I see a lot of people come in. I'm someone on the forums for WoW mods and stuff that you'd come and ask a question if you need help. The problem is, I see two types of people, more than two types, but there's two main types that I really notice. The people who teach themselves and the people who ask questions before even trying. The people who ask questions before even trying are not helping themselves progress. They are always going to be slower, like a lot slower at progressing. They're always going to be dependent on someone else to help them. Someone who helps themselves, I have seen already, it was myself, and I've seen other people on the forums for WoW modding. The people who test and experiment and do everything to try and learn themselves progress a lot faster and a lot further. This relates to everything. Everything in life that you want to get better at, or just anything in life that you want to further in your life, I guess. It's hard to explain what I'm trying to say. But anyway, I'll just leave that there, and I'll go back to Call of Duty. Part of the reason that I'm finding it hard in Call of Duty to progress now is Black Ops 1, it kind of feels like it's out of my hands a lot of the time. And I know this is not true to some extent, but at the same time, to some extent, it is true. The connection limits me, like the connection on the game limits me to be able to get better. If I go into a LAN match or a bots match, my shot will be just about perfect. I will be able to destroy things before they get to shoot. I will not miss a shot. And this is about more like people moving and you adjusting your shot to their movement speed. Mine would be just about perfect. Then I go online and I am shooting directly through people. There is no way to progress that. That is not in my control. And it's really disappointing because in Black Ops 1, the hitboxes were weird and off, but it was very consistent. And you can learn with consistency. You cannot learn, like in Black Ops 2, you're effectively learning 3 different games at once, connection-wise, because sometimes you'll have a decent connection and you'll be learning the game that way. Other times you'll be learning a horrible connection, and then sometimes you'll be learning both in the one game. And the problem is it's so erratic in how it changes that you can't really stick to it and learn it. Just the one way and that's it. Unfortunately, because I do have an MW3 and I do have Black Ops 1, it's also hard to learn them now but that's more just a hosting issue. There's less people on it and it's hard to find a good host. That's just understandable. That's not the game's fault, that's the age of the game. Now, Black Ops 2, it just kind of sucks. It's not fair. And I don't know what to do for a resolve for this. Again, with League of Legends, I'm finding myself progressing very fast. I'm doing well at that game. I'm getting better and better, and I see myself getting better. And that's because, A, it's on dedicated servers, so the connection is not an issue. And B, the other thing that it has that Call of Duty doesn't, or at least it does, but it's a lot harder to try and do it, is it's identifying your mistakes and identifying how to improve. In League of Legends, you have the numbers that tell you how you can improve. You have the clock that says, okay, by this point in time, so by 10 minutes in, I should have 100 creeps killed, or 100 monsters killed. And you can just judge by that. And if you aren't up to that scratch, then you're obviously not doing something right. And you can figure out what you're not doing. Did you not buy the right item? Did you not do this? Because this item would have boosted my stats by this much. You can see the exact numbers that are going to help you. Call of Duty, and especially sniping, it's a lot different. Because you have to kind of convert visual cues into numbers. So what I mean by that is, if I'm sniping, the very basic view on this, and again, very basic, is if you are overshooting or undershooting. When I scope in and drag my scope really fast and I shoot past them, I'm overshooting. And I need to perhaps lower my sensitivity so I land more on them, or I need to shoot before I drag that far. That is an easy thing to identify, but it is not a guaranteed thing. If I am only overshooting by the tiniest bit, I might not even notice it. If I am undershooting by the tiniest bit, I might not even notice it. There is no number that tells me that I am doing this. It's either I am losing or I am winning. And again, it also comes into the factor of how I said before, the Black Ops 2 connection kind of plays a role in this, and you can't tell because it's impossible to get a fucking consistent connection in this game. But anyway, that is, as I said, a very basic and obvious view of how you can see your progression or what you need to improve on in Black Ops or any Call of Duty. However, there are so many subtle things in any game like this, in Call of Duty, in League of Legends, in fucking, I don't know, World of Warcraft, any game like these. There are so many subtle things The problem is Call of Duty is one of the hardest to recognize your subtle mistakes. And I'm finding myself at a stalemate. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do about this. I'm obviously going to try and pay more attention to what I'm doing wrong, and I'm going to try and improve on that and see what I can do from there. So guys, I'll leave you with that to think about. Try and identify where your mistakes are, and is this happening to you? Let me know in the comments below both what you think it's happening, if it's happening to you, how you think you can help yourself, and how you think I can help myself. Because again, I'm not really sure what I should do. And I'd love to get your opinion on it, because I'd like to even do a reply commentary about it for other people's opinions on how they would fix this situation. But anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the gameplay that I have not gotten yet. And I also hope you enjoyed this commentary, and I hope it really gives you something to think about. But anyway, as always, guys, hope you enjoyed, and have fun.